Well, I am delighted to be joined here at the Landlord Investment Show by one of my favourite property people, Mr. Ben Beadle, CEO of the NRLA. We're on their stand. And Ben, we normally chat on Zoom, doing our Landlord Lens.
Better in the flesh though, right?
Exactly. So it's lovely to see you. And I know that one of the reasons you come along to these shows is that you love to meet landlords face to face and hear what's on their mind, what's bothering them, their feedback, because you really do want to hear it and you want to be able to act on it.
100%, Vanessa. You know, as a membership organisation, we are nothing without our members, and it's important to me that whilst we can't fight every battle, we need to know what's happening on the ground, what our members and the wider landlord audience are thinking about stuff. And today's been invaluable because it's reinforced that some of the stuff that we're saying about tax, energy, mortgages, regulation is really resonating. But also, you know, there's other stuff out there that landlords want us to fight the fight on, and we are absolutely committed to doing that.
I know you are. And I'd love to do a video diary of a day in your life, because you've been at the show, you've done panel debates, you've done talks, you've been off and done other things and come back. Tell me what your day's been like.
So I've had a change of clothes as well, as somebody else reminded me of earlier. So I went to see the Lord responsible for energy, which is a subject that I can't remember his name actually, Lord Callaghan his name is.
Yep.
And we had a great conversation about the direction of travel on energy. I was putting them under a little bit of pressure to say these targets that you've got are essentially rubbish and out of date, and we'll see where that lands. But we also want to see measures that actually help landlords, help government achieve their aspirations when it comes to energy. So stick is one thing, but we do need some carrots.
Yes, of course. And what else have you done today?
I did an interview at ITV that's going out this evening at 6:30, talking about rent increases across London, specifically London. But it's given me a great opportunity to talk about the reasons why we have the highest rents on record. And of course, it's what people have said today. It's mortgage costs, it's taxation, it's regulation, and it's also because we don't have the right number of homes in the right number of places.
Yes.
We have a demand and supply imbalance, and until that's resolved, it will only get worse.
Now, you mentioned that you're a membership organisation and you have a voice at a political level. You know, in many cases, you are the only landlord representation in the room, so to speak. You need members. You need members to have a bigger voice, a louder voice. And to my mind, it's an absolute no-brainer to join the NRLA, because it's the political thing as well, but it's all the member services you offer as well. It's extremely good value for money. Ben, I liken it to the Caravan, a motorhome club, the National Trust. That these kind of memberships are less than £100 a year, but they give you access to so much, and I want to encourage everybody watching to join the NRLA, and we have a special offer at Property Tribes where you can join with a £15 discount.
I'll take the shirt off my back, why don't you?
So, you know, it's so important that landlords get behind you, because it gives you a louder voice, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. You know, we have to prove ourselves that we've got landlords' interests at heart, but I think we have done that and continue to do that. It's not just about campaigning and lobbying, although that is one very important part where we need to make sure that our voice is heard, and Mr. Gove has heard it and other ministers have heard it and will continue to hear it whether they like it or not. But this is about helping landlords be the best that they can be. Our advice line, our documents and forms, training, accreditation, services, portfolio, the app. There's lots of things that we're doing on a not-for-profit basis and putting our surpluses back in to landlords, because landlords are under the cosh. 3,000 calls last week to our advice line.
Wow.
Well, that takes resources, and we have to invest in that, and we're absolutely committed to doing that. And out the front, you know, we've got London Renters Union mobilised, protesting. Well, we need to mobilise. We need to grow that voice and grow our community. And I would put it to you that spending £85 or £70 with your discount is a good way to do that. And I've been really pleased to see people reactivate their membership today, join for the first time, really get behind some of the things that we're doing. Are we all things to all people? No, we're not. But do we have an important voice and a seat at the political table? 100% we do.
Yes, and I think you're doing a really amazing job, Ben. I think it's a challenging job that you do, and I think you communicate landlord issues so well, and it's great to. I think in the last few months, I think you've been even more visible in the media. We've had mainstream media, you've been GB News and all sorts of different things, and I think it's so important that you are out there, banging the landlord drum, because there's we're talking endlessly about the challenges, and landlords, we've had Go finally admitting that landlords actually do a good job.
Indeed, and he was out yesterday in our PR talking up the vital role that landlords have got to play in the sector, and that's great. But what we need, Vanessa, is we need to see tangible actions that cement those words. It's great to hear the words, but until I see things like Section 24 repealed and the Renters Reform Bill addressing students and periodic tenancies and those types of things, then they are just words. But we have a good working relationship, we have access to the people that matter, and we're playing the long game. We will keep chipping away in the interests of responsible landlords.
Well, there's doubt now about whether the Renters Reform Bill will come through at all in the near future. It's all hanging in the balance, really, isn't it? And that creates so much uncertainty for landlords, and landlords don't like uncertainty.
No, they don't. And that was the point I made with Lord Callan this morning, or this afternoon even, which was even things like energy. Actually, we just need to know. Everybody accepts that 25, 28 and 10k are totally unrealistic. So what's the forward plan? Let's share that plan. Let's make landlords part of that plan and part of the solution, because they'll be able to derive the results far quicker. And as for rental reform, this is again about confidence, and it's making sure that these reforms work for responsible landlords. And you're right, the clock is ticking. If we don't hear something in the next week or so, by the end of next week, actually the second reading probably won't take place until after recess at some point in September. You then start to run out of time. And the one thing that we do know is a blue reform will be better than a red reform. We
do know that, for sure. Now, just as we conclude, you're aware of the thread about the NRLA on property tribes. People, our members, discussing whether you serve the landlord community correctly. I know that you welcome all feedback. You're not scared of it.
No,
what would you say to property tribes members who feel that the NRLA don't represent their interests well enough?
Well, tell me why. ben@nrla.org.uk is my email address. I can't promise I will do everything, or the organisation will do everything that you want. But I feel that from what I've heard today and the feedback on the panel, and from exhibitors and people attending, I feel that we are, on message in terms of fighting for the responsible majority. But are we the finished article? No, of course we're not. Can we do better? Sure. Tell us what those solutions look like. Tell us what you'd like to see, and I will afford you the courtesy of a reply, if nothing else.
And if you've got any suggestions for Ben, you can't get more open than that, giving out your email address. You are the CEO of the organisation.
Well, it matters to me, Vanessa. I'm principally a landlord. I've been a landlord for 20 years. These issues affect me as well as everybody else. I guess the issue is it's making sure that we're at the table when it comes to these decisions being made. Now, there's two ways of doing this. You can either come up with alternatives that are compromises, granted, or you can be like that mob out there that are on the periphery shouting into a vacuum. I would prefer to be the former, although I recognise that the latter is a strategy. Be part of it, tell us what you want, we can discuss it on the lens, and I look forward to it.
Well, we will be reconvening for the July edition of the Landlord Lens, which actually I'll put a link below it as well, so you can register now. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but I'm very much looking forward. I do enjoy our conversations because we really do kind of chew over the issues, don't we?
No, we do. And
we cover a lot of ground.
We do, and you can. I look at the threads, I look at the discussions, and I know that we get hundreds of landlords dial into that, and that there are always so many questions, so many relevant questions, and I think, with so many issues going on in the sector, that access to what I hope is informative and useful, credible advice is going to be really, really relevant and pertinent to the great many landlords that we've got out there that are doing a fantastic job. And it's my job to talk them up, and I'm going to do that at every opportunity.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much for joining me here today at the Landlord Investment Show, and I'll be back with Ben for the July edition of the Landlord Lens, and we'll put a link under this so you can register. But for now, Ben, personally, thank you from me as a landlord and member of the NRLA. I really appreciate all the work you do, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you and hear your views. So thank you for being part of Property Tribes.
Pleasure. Thank you, Vanessa.